Picture this. It's nighttime. You're driving down Route 59 in Easton, Connecticut. It's a mostly rural stretch of road with forest lining both sides of the street.
Okay, Jeff, I'm seeing it. I got it.
As you approach the intersection with Route 136, you look over and see a lady in a white dress along the side of the road near Union Cemetery. She's almost translucent. You slow down to offer her help, and then she vanishes. I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger, and I think I just saw a ghost.
You may have. The White Lady of Easton, Connecticut is a story I first heard as a kid.
You grew up near there, didn't you?
I did. I grew up in Newtown, Connecticut, just 2 towns away. And as a boy, I remember hearing this story, even different versions of it.
Different?
Well, that's how legends work. One person tells it one way, another person tells it another. It's one of those stories where everyone seems to know someone who knows someone else who saw the White Lady of Easton.
So who is she? Or I guess I should ask, who was she?
The short answer is we have no idea. But to tell her story, we need to travel back in time at least 2,000 years and head over to Europe. During Roman times, a woman's bridal veil would be made at least as tall as her entire body. Can you guess why, Ray?
No, I actually can't.
There are a few reasons. First is practical. In the days of arranged marriages, a groom may not even get to see his bride, let alone meet her, until he was at the altar. Imagine that. If he didn't like what he saw when he lifted the veil, it's too late to run. So the veil was also there to ward off evil spirits. There's superstition behind it. But the final reason is truly final in all senses of the word. Eventually, her wedding veil would be used as her funeral shroud and would one day need to cover her entire body.
That's interesting. I don't even know if my wife still has her veil.
This tradition carried forward throughout the centuries as funeral rites evolved. It was customary for a body to be buried or sent off in the person's finest clothes, and often that meant the clothes they were married in.
All right, married in, buried in. Got it.
So over time, fashions and tastes change, but roots run deep. Many wedding traditions come from supernatural superstitions. For example, brides carry a bouquet of flowers to ward off evil spirits. At one time, bridesmaids used to dress in identical outfits as the bride in order to confuse evil spirits. But there's also a practical side to this. As the bride and her family and friends marched from her village to her groom's village, onlookers who might be interested in kidnapping the soon-to-be wed and grab her dowry wouldn't know who to snatch.
I've never given so much thought to weddings before. I guess I figured I just had to show up.
That's typically what guys do, and probably have for the last 2,000 years. White wedding dresses don't become in vogue until roughly 1840 during the marriage of Queen Victoria to Prince Albert. After that, everyone wanted to wear white. It was seen as pure and virginal. Plus, the tradition of a woman being buried in her wedding dress still continued during this time.
And it gave us a great 80s song with Billy Idol.
White wedding. Do we have to pay for that? So all over Europe, there are tales of white ladies and gray lady ghosts. It's a woman whose spirit has risen from the grave for some unfinished business. She's been scorned, she's hurt, has some kind of warning for us. In Easton, Connecticut, we don't know who this woman was. In one version of the story, she was murdered by her husband on her wedding day, and her body was abandoned behind the church near the cemetery. Another says she's a mother who died during childbirth and wanders the area looking for her baby. She's been seen in and around Union Cemetery and also alongside the road on Route 59. Longtime ghost hunters Ed and Lorraine Warren have this video they captured that just blew me away. I remember seeing it about 20 years ago when Ed Warren showed it to me at his house.
What'd it look like?
So picture this camera on a tripod right at the entrance to the cemetery. It's nighttime, and you barely see some headstones with the light. This white misty shape takes form up into something that looks human. I would even grant you even feminine. And it starts moving deliberately around the headstones, coming toward the camera, and then this black stuff from below comes up and it just gets sucked into the ground.
Creepy.
The whole thing is maybe 6 or 7 seconds, but that's a long time.
Wow.
And then it's gone. Unless he got Spielberg to help him with that, I've never been able to explain it. Ed Warren also told me the story of an off-duty firefighter who was driving home in his pickup truck along that road. The story goes it was nighttime. The driver looks up, and suddenly, he sees this woman in white standing in the middle of the road. He locks up the brakes, but it's too late. He hits her. He stops, jumps out of the truck, so distraught, but he finds no body, no blood, nothing. Just a curious dent on his fender.
Now that sounds like the legend of the Phantom Hitchhiker.
She does, and that's a story we'll cover more in depth another time because New England has those.
Have you seen her in person?
I haven't, but I'll tell you this. As a kid, I remember driving down that road with my family, and you'd see the cemetery, and I would stare at it through the side window, then through the back window, until it was completely out of sight. Because just in case, what if she was there? My brother-in-law, who was a complete skeptic about all things ghostly, used to drive by Union Cemetery on his way to work each day. I remember him telling me he doesn't believe a word of the White Lady story, but he'd still look over there at night.
I guess we all have our doubts, don't we? And it speaks to how powerful this story is. Even non-believers have to at least look. So what's the last word on this, Jeff?
The White Lady of Easton connects us to our past, to another era, to traditions that may be almost forgotten if not for her ghost. And she does indeed have a message for us, that Route 59 can be dangerous, especially at night. You can find the New England Legends podcast wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and more. So go ahead and subscribe. It's free.
And you can hear this and our other past episodes at ournewenglandlegends.com. Plus, you can see pictures related to these stories and find other information on our website. Check us out each week for another strange but true tale from somewhere in New England.
Until next time, remember, the bizarre is closer than you think.